Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. Now, today I want to talk about one of my very favorite musicians of all time. He's produced some of my favorite albums ever across many different genres, and this is, of course, the great trumpeter Donald Byrd. Now, Donald Byrd's sort of earliest flirtation, well, his earliest experience in the spotlight was as a member of Art Blakey's hard-bopping Jazz Messengers, where he stepped into the trumpet seat that was vacated by the late great Clifford Brown, who had a very short but very compelling life. Now, Donald Byrd recorded so much cutting edge hard bop in the 50s and 60s and collaborated with so many of the giants of that genre. I mean, just to name a few, Dexter Gordon, Eric Dolphy, Sonny Clark, Kenny Clark. He played with John Coltrane, a lot with Jackie McLean, and a lot with Hank Mobley. He played a little bit with Sonny Rollins, with Horace Silver, with the great Jimmy Smith, with George Wallington, so many others, just to name a few. Jimmy Heath, Herbie Hancock, Wes Montgomery. And so his credentials as one of the most in-demand sort of bebop and post-bop trumpeters of the 50s and even more so into the 60s, it was beyond question. And then he released an album at the beginning of the 70s called Electric Byrd. And this is Byrd for those who are hung up on spelling and such things. And from there, he fully not only embraced, but became a pioneer compositionally in terms of arrangements and his adaptability in terms of his playing in jazz fusion. Now, Electric Byrd was still somewhat on the more avant-garde side of jazz fusion, but he became increasingly embracing jazz funk fusion by the middle of the 70s and released a slew of classic albums that have become staples of sampling throughout the history of hip hop. I'm thinking albums like Street Lady from 73, one of my absolute favorites, one of the best albums of all time, Stepping Into Tomorrow from 75, Places and Spaces, the follow-up from the same year. And then in the late 70s, early 80s, he became an educator at the University of North Carolina and formed a band that he led with music students called the 125th Street NYC Band. And a great album that he made with them was called choking here, was called Lovebird from 1981, an absolutely wonderful album. But all of the stuff that he did and all of his collaborations, Isaac Hayes was on Lovebird, just to name a few, such great stuff. And there really is something for everyone in the Donald Byrd catalog. Whether you like traditional bebop, whether you like post-bop, avant-garde, jazz funk fusion, ultra danceable but still very melodic and chordally sophisticated fusion. There is something there. And his period as a renowned educator shows that he not only understood music, but he loved sharing music. By all means, a really great guy. Sadly, he's gone, but the legacy will always live on. As always, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.